I'm Ken Bridges, Manager of Technical Support at Jefferson County Public Schools in Louisville. Been here, I'm getting ready to retire in a couple of days, so somebody else could be doing this too, but you can hit it all like that, I'm sure. But we've been on mainframe equipment in-house since, I know, the mid-60s. We started with the H120, Honeywell 120, and we had Honeywell and Bull equipment ever since. Always in-house, and always had our hands on the machine constantly. Over the last few years, of course, most everything is evolving off to server-based. A lot of our in-house applications have been converted off the mainframe and running on applications that we either purchased or was mandated by the state, which we have to report to. With that point, a lot of the large applications have gone. Our student information system, which was our main business for a while, all of our financials except for payroll, some budget, and HR system have been taken off the mainframe. So last year, we started talking to Linda and some of the Bull people about possibly doing some managed hosting. And we looked at it kind of hard at the time, but decided, well, we don't really want to lose control of the machine. You know, we just can't do that. But at the beginning of this year, it got a little bit different because our budget started getting cut. Like most everybody's budgets, we were cut last year and we cut this year about 4%. So we took another look at it with Linda and reduced some of our needs. That was one thing. We didn't need as many communication lines. We didn't need as much power. And after a while of looking at all the savings that's involved in it, we were able to go ahead and approach the board about considering managed hosting with Bull. Well, being an old-timer mainframer, I wasn't real thrilled about it, but I let him do it anyway. Because I looked for some of the problems. I expected, you go for a week, we expected to be out of business for a week, and you can't be out of business for a week. Not when you've got 20,000 employees you've got to pay every 2 weeks. You got a budget that's got to be done, and a lot of work that's going on. But Bull gave us a good crew. We had some great people that come out of Phoenix, a great project manager, Lee, and several of the other people that was involved that all knew what they were doing. And we worked together with them. Lee put together a very detailed plan. We had conference calls every week, and Lee followed up like he was a workhorse. We were in awe of him. But anyway, one of the main problems we wanted to do was decide when we were going to do the conversion, and we decided that we would do it late in July because that gets us through year end. Well, late in July was not a good time, so after working with our users and our payroll department and everything, we've settled on the 4th of July weekend so that we'd be converted for the new fiscal year and everything. And that weekend, the machine moved, nothing changed. None of the users knew it. Nobody in-house knew it. Our developers, they didn't know it. Although we don't have too many more developers on the mainframe, they were able to get in through VPNs, through our local lines, and everything went real well, real smooth.
So that whole concern about being down for a week.
Oh, man, the anxiety, and the users, they were just pulling their hair out. We had to work the last day before we did our final saves. We had to work with them and have them call me as soon as they were done for that day, for the weekend, for the 4th of July weekend. Well, they managed to let us have an hour early, so we were able to get the saves done. Got all the tapes tucked to Linda. Linda flew into town She took the tapes and she flew them to Phoenix, and they were in Phoenix the next morning. And I think they had the restore and everything done on the system probably by noon or so. So by Sunday, we were able to get on, start testing, do a validation. Everything looked good to us. We didn't have anything that we had to tell them to do. And so far, we have had no glitches at all. I'm totally impressed. It's one of the, I've been through a lot of GCOS updates, and there have been major problems, but this has been as smooth as probably the transition to the Nova scale, which we were able to do with no problem at all. So,
was it because of the people that were involved in the process that were in place that helped make this a smooth transition?
Well, it couldn't have got done if it wasn't for the people that were involved. The crew out there all has been gracious, and of course the support from the tax center. Bernie, he did a lot of statistical work for us, and Bernie's always been a great person for any of us, always willing. So the TAC is always involved. We had one situation where the TAC got involved, but it really wasn't anything. It probably was something we did more than anything. But so far, with the system out there, if we have all the confidence in the world that anything goes wrong, get fixed pretty quick.
So do you think that in the future, if there's any conversion, whether there are conversions, I should say, being this old sales guy, do you think that the county will, or your folks will feel a lot better about making a change and migration to outsourcing there?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel they've gained a lot of confidence. The users, and you understand users, they're very cautious about anything that you do. And since this went so smooth, I know that they would certainly consider anything else that we might do in the future. And, I'd look forward to a relationship going great if I was going to be here.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that speaks to also the fact that once we got you moved, the relationship continues. That, you know, there's constant interaction between yourselves and our folks, and that, you know, the relationship is extremely important, and the communication.
Yeah, the follow-up, we've still had weekly meetings on the phone, follow-up, covering anything, any items. Lee keeps a project running and keeps a list of all the items that's outstanding and who's responsible for getting them done, and he makes sure they get them done. Mm-hmm. I don't know what he'd do to me if I didn't do it, but he does make sure they get done. He's a good man. 007, they call him.
Yeah.
But some of the benefits that we've seen from this happening, we were able to cut our maintenance costs, but in the other areas that we've seen, we were able to reduce our second shift to nothing now. Starting next week, we won't even have a second shift. We did purchase some hours from Bull. They now run our payroll in Phoenix, and then our whole second shift, rest of the second shift load is now being turned over to Phoenix.
So there's a direct correlation to outsourcing. You've actually been able to lower costs.
Oh, substantially. And not that we reduce people. We don't want to do that right now because we have a help center, and all of our operators have primarily been involved with help desk. And they still run the console sitting at their desk. They just don't have a computer room to go to and manage the printing, and that's about it. But as far as electrical cost, as far as personnel, there's been a strong reduction in costs. And they're very happy with that because of the budget reductions that we've been involved in. We don't have to worry about the equipment. We don't have to worry about making sure there's a technician somewhere in the area that can get here in case we have a problem. I know that if we have a problem in Phoenix, there's someone right there that can work on hardware. We don't have to worry about that. And communication line, that was one of the things that we didn't have before. We didn't have a disaster recovery in place that would really work. Now we have a system in Phoenix that's totally backed up every night by the Phoenix people, which we didn't have to do. They have off-site storage. They have a double backup of power. They have 2 feeds for power, so if one goes out, they still got the backup of that. So total disaster recovery in that area. And we got a UPS that might have kept us going for a little while. That wasn't an objective to reduce the people. Never has really been an objective, even though people are probably your highest cost, but good people are hard to find. So what we were able to do with our operations staff is put them in a help support environment. They take a lot of the help calls. They perform a lot of user help in our environment. We've got 15,000 teachers out there and 100,000 students that a lot of times they just don't know what they're doing all the time, although some of the students are a lot brighter than we are. But it's been a real good experience. We were able to totally get rid of the second shift, and actually we did have 3 shifts at one time. We got rid of the 3rd shift when we started reducing some of the things off the mainframe. But now we've totally gone away from the 2nd shift, which Bull, they did the saves for us as part of the contract. That was automatic. And that took a big load. That was a lot of our batch window was taken up with that. So now we're getting to the point where they will take our TP systems down, which we do every night, do all the batch jobs that we've been doing, and I don't have to have an operator that calls in and says they're not going to be here tonight, and I got to find somebody else. So that has been a great benefit. The first day we had it, nobody even knew the difference, that it wasn't downstairs. And I don't have to walk down the steps and go to the computer room anymore, unless I want to find somebody that's sitting in there, which is usually nobody. It's pretty well dark in there except for the printer. But we don't have to worry about the hardware at all and check the status of it. Very happy with it. Of course, 50 years as being a mainframer, it's pretty difficult to take your hands off of it, but I don't have to be there anymore to do that. And the first thing I do is demonstrate it to them. I could show them how it's worked for us. Our computer room now is empty, except for servers, which I guess will always be around. I would highly recommend it to anybody for the protection that you get. You don't have to worry about it anymore. And it takes a lot of load off your shoulders and reduces your costs, which it has done for us. So we're able to do other things now. My whole life in computers has been with Bull equipment, Honeywell Bull equipment. I went to a lot of marketing people over the years, and they have been great. I've never really had one that's gave me anything but just total support. The TAC has been one of the best places that you have access to. You can communicate with them, and you can, even though now me being the manager, I wasn't as bright about G-Coast as some of the people that work for me. They're all gone now. I'm the only one left, and so I depend on the TAC right now. But over the years, the TAC has always done a great job. Even if we went to a new release of G-Coast, they were there. I can't think of a time that I was unhappy. Even when I worked here, I was a manager, DP manager at another place, and we had Honeywell at that point. So it's been a great experience, and I'll miss it.
My name is Raghu Seshadri. I'm the Director of Management Information Services at Jefferson County Public School. One of the big apprehensions from the user side was performance. People thought that if they can't touch and see the system, they're not going to be able to get a good performance out of it. In our case, the network was an issue. The existing network had a lot of issues because it goes through Kentucky Department of Education. So we didn't know if that would work or not. So that our apprehension was, is the user experience going to be as nice as it is today? It's been great. I think it's probably, to put this in perspective, when I came here, I saw some of the projects that were done on a turnkey basis by a lot of other vendors. And we probably spent a lot of money on it. We got maybe 25-30% of the deliverables. But in this case, people like Lee and them took on the project. They were very meticulous from the get-go. They kept us in the loop. And everything was done so meticulously that nothing was left to chance. This is probably one of the best transitions we've ever seen. I think your team gets all the credit for doing it in such a way. I think it looks like you could have done it in your sleep. It goes to show that you're not just present when the project gets handed over, you're there throughout the whole process when we are your customer. I think that part is really commendable.